I'm going to talk about LightSail, which is probably not the most sexy product that Amazon's managed to release in the last 3 months. But it is relatively disruptive, so it's worth talking about. Has anybody here read anything about it or even tried it out yet? The product came out? It's basically Amazon's play at the VPS market. And I'm sure most people here have heard of VPS, Virtual Private Server Market. Been around for a good 15 years. There's nothing overly new about it. It's essentially a VM of some variety crammed into either another VM or into a physical piece of kit. They are generally very cheap pieces of hosting. These are the sort of things that people get for small WordPress sites, small application servers. Everything tends to be pre-installed, it's pre-baked, easy to use, and essentially it gets people up and running for somewhere in the $15 mark. Sometimes sort of get the flash version. Stacks are what Amazon is putting to market. So these are the ones that they have today. They're basically images built by Bitnami, which has been around for a while, even pre-Amazon, and can be deployed on a whole bunch of things. So these are the application stacks you can deploy in around about 5 minutes, and it actually works as per advertised, and you can get it for $5. So for $5 per month, you can get any one of these application stacks up and running in around about 5 minutes. You literally need, I think, one entry point field for the name of the thing you want to build, and then a box count for how many of them you want, and it's done. The rest is all automated. It doesn't expose any other of the Amazon ecosystem to create these things, so you don't need to know about elastic load balancers, networking, VPCs, or any of that guff. It just deploys a box and dumps it on the internet, gives you shell access. That's it. It kind of has some overlap with some other Amazon services. And I've been asked by a few people, are they disrupting their own ecosystem? And they're not really. So there's sort of 4 product spaces that cover the sort of technologies that can be used. In this example, I'm essentially demonstrating how you could deploy an Express application. So Node Express. You could put it into LightSail, which is going to be very, very simple. 5 minutes, you're going to have a $5 box and be able to deploy your Node app. EC2 instances can do exactly the same thing. But EC2 is essentially a building block. It's like Lego. It's one part, and you're going to have to assemble many different parts to try and get Amazon to deploy a resilient or highly available solution in their ecosystem. Then you have Beanstalk, which will also deploy a Node.js application, but it's designed to build applications at scale. So it was created so that developers could push their code out into infrastructure on a PaaS. They wouldn't have to manage it, they just have to manage the application deployment. The rest is all done on your behalf. And obviously Docker could deploy exactly the same instance in a container in Amazon's container services. But again, it's geared around a Docker image and is a lot more complex than using something like LightSail. So LightSail is basically the lowest possible entry point to build a server. It is the absolute minimum piece of complexity you need to give somebody a box on the internet. So the existing market today is these people. These are the 4 probably biggest VPS providers that you will find. There are literally thousands upon thousands of companies that do VPS. It's around about a $15 billion industry globally. It employs a great many people and runs half of the internet's cat pages. So this is pretty much the market that they target. People with not a lot of critical infrastructure, but around about $20 a month to spend on their website. The churn rate in these environments is staggering. Over 30% of people who buy one of these servers will not have it within 12 months. So they will completely give up. They will spend all their effort, realize that A, nobody cares about their cat, and B, nobody's going to buy any of their crap. So they just shut that thing down in 12 months, right? So this is the market that exists today. There's not a lot of differentiator between these people. Essentially, it's a race to the bottom. Who can provide the cheapest WordPress server to market? At the end of the day, the only value add they can really give you is support and maybe something about the UI, about how easy it is to deploy. But most of them gear around support. There's some performance pitches that some of them make. Linode in particular talks about support, but it's somewhat academic, and nobody really gives a shit about it in the real world, because a 5% performance difference on a WordPress server for $5. I mean, really, who gives a damn, right? It's $5, it's coffee money. So that's the market that existed today, 15 billion bucks doing that. LightSail has thrown itself directly in that market. Now Amazon basically gets access to this market for free. It's not having to create anything novel, it's using its existing infrastructure. It's just hiding it all under a single page form to buy it. So you get access to what is essentially an EC2 box, an elastic load balancer, a VPC, subnets, security groups, and all of the other capabilities that Amazon has. They just slap a new brand on it and they sell it to you for $5. They get to slice and dice their infrastructure even thinner than they ever have before. So their margins are staggering, and you get a $5 server. And they actually perform pretty well, considering that they've got about 512 mega RAM. But if you're trying to run a little Joomla box or a GitLab box or something like that, you've got a few users, it's really not going to get hit very hard. They actually they work a lot better than I expected. I was expecting something pretty poor, but yeah, they're not bad. Amazon has some disadvantages right now over its competitors in this space, in the fact that they have zero support. Has anybody here been a poor victim and had to use Amazon support? Like, it is monumentally shite. You get nothing. You get a box. Like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, oh, tough shit, right? Amazon is not going to support these things. It's $5. Like, there's no money in this stuff. It's cents in the like, they're literally making cents a month. So Amazon's not going to provide a great deal of support, but for $5, nobody's expecting it, right? But it is also a race to the bottom. And this is one area that Amazon's going to be able to compete very heavily with its competitors, because they just don't have the money. So if you're GoDaddy and you're trying to fight Amazon, I'm pretty sure I know who's going to win that one. One of the big advantages that LightSail does have as a hosting component that none of their competitors are going to be able to deliver is this lot. So yes, it only costs you $5, and yes, it's dead easy to set up. But if 6 months later you realise that actually what you wanted was a lot more complex, and you actually want to use DynamoDB, you have access to every other Amazon service. So you still have an Amazon account. You can still access these other capabilities if you want to get into the console. You can still expand your ecosystem. So Amazon's managed to get its toe in the door, so to speak, for $5. The 30% of people that fail, well, they're going to just fall out. Nobody cares about them. The ones that survive, that's their market that they can then start pitching additional services to. So out of that $15 billion industry, they're going to try and capture all the people who actually want to do something interesting with their infrastructure. Right? So that's their pitch. But nobody else is going to be able to compete with this. None of these people have any capabilities beyond $5 servers. Right? I'm going pretty quick, but we've been here a while. So VPS industry, it has very little value add. If you look at most of the IT industry, even what Amazon does, what Amazon intrinsically does is remove value from the ecosystem. So at the end of the day, when we all used to run physical tin, we used to be able to, as a service provider or as an IT company, we would add value on top, and we could manage our underlying infrastructure costs and shuffle the deck a bit to try and capture that value, and that's what we call profit. Amazon strips that right back. So they take all the profit and they leave next to nothing behind.